First of all, I would like to thank RØDE Audio Malaysia for this loaner unit. Once I'm done with this review, I need to return this to them. So let's just have a look at the price for this KA13. If you are in Malaysia, RØDE Audio is the main distributor for FiiO product here in Malaysia. So looking at the Shopee shop here for RØDE Audio, you can buy this for 369 Malaysian ringgit, which is equivalent to $80 for anywhere else in the world. CS43131. I can almost guarantee you that 80% of the latest releases of dongle this year in particular would be running on this DAC chip or at least another variant of CS431. Okay, at the very least, the one that sets the difference for this KA13 is that there dual SGM 8262 op amps, okay, which is the analog stage power amplifier for this KA13. And just like other CS43131, the PCM resolution is rated at 384 kHz, 32-bit, capable of DSD256. The next one is the most important thing. The main reason why this KA13 exists. This is without a doubt the most powerful Cirrus Logic dongle to date, 550 milliwatt of power per channel. Even the single-ended is quite impressive at 170 milliwatt of power per channel. Okay, the voltage itself is rated at 4 VRMS, which is pretty much normal for most dual DAC CS43131. And have a look at the signal to noise ratio. For something which is very powerful, it is very impressive. And I can confirm that this is indeed silent enough, even when attached to hybrid low impedance rating IM, which I have tested so far. I am not hearing any kind of floor noises. So other than that, let's just have a look at the hardware itself. Okay, first, of course, this standard issue of 4.4 mm balance here and 3.5 mm single-ended. The build quality is as per expected coming from FiiO, which is elegant and no-nonsense sort of design with this glass faceplate at the back here. And at the side here, you're going to find this toggle button first, which is marked in orange, up, down. These are high and low impedance toggle. Third is firmware update, which also address some other fixes. Okay, the most prominent changes would be this KA13 now offer independent volume adjustment. When you attach this KA13 using this Android phone with FiiO control app, you're gonna have some option to configure. If you have KA5, so many options, so many things that you can play with. But this KA13 seems to be very simple, Spartan in fact. So you look at it, you can only control SPDIF, which is the digital out toggle. So you can change this 3.5 mm single-ended from analog to digital signal to fit external legacy DAC, or you can just control the light on and off, that's it. Will this KA13 really replace this type of big size 3000 milliwatt of power DAC M like this Burson Audio Playmate 2? My answer is no. Okay, straightforward. I have been testing it quite extensively with my listening equipment, especially this Fostech T40 RP MK3. I'm just gonna put it this way. Definitely, I am hearing quite a bit more of authority, headroom, and also resolution coming from this Burson Audio Playmate 2. Okay, but the good thing is that if I am not comparing, okay, just put aside the comparison mentality for aside, I don't have anything else in my possession right now. I just have FiiO KA13. I attach it to my PC, use this. This thing is impressive. Despite not as commanding, full authority like this full-size DAC amp, it is definitely among the most powerful dongle or portable DAC amp in this form factor that you can expect in the market right now. So let's just have a look at the dynamic presentation itself, the way this KA13 presents the sound. This is something which I would classify as being balanced and neutral with the way it presents sound. I am not hearing any kind of attempt to do coloration. It is neutral, transparent, and definitely very well balanced between all frequency level. Okay, and the dynamic extension itself very well extended, living up to the expectation for this sort of quality of dongle. And the sound timbre itself, very important to me. This KA13 sounded natural and near analog. So what does it mean? I am not hearing any kind of digital tint or digital element to the sound itself, it sounded realistic, natural to my ears, especially when attached to different IEM which I have here in my hand. Okay, so many of them, especially this Fostec T40 RP MK3. The more transparent they are, the more I am hearing the sort of sound which I would consider as being natural. Okay, so when we talk about the dynamic range itself, from mid-range, upper frequency to the lower frequency, you see, I have been saying this so many times and I will say it again. A good DAC amp will always try to be neutral. So in the case of FiiO KA13, it is definitely neutral. It does not boost, it does not reduce, or it does not color any of the element of that 3 frequency range. Whatever you are hearing, especially if you attach something which is very transparent like this Ethymotic ER2XR, you're gonna hear the sound signature, the sound characteristic of your listening partner. Transparency, okay? So, talking about a bit of technicality, starting with the staging itself. Just like many other Cirrus Logic CS43131, you can expect wide and spacious sound coming from this KA13. Pretty much on par to many other dongle, even this iBasso DC04 Pro. Okay, when it comes to resolution, you can expect this KA13, while being very well balanced and smooth with the sound presentation, it is detailed and analytical depending on the type of partner you attach to it. If you attach something which is less analytical, then it is less analytical. But if you attach something like HIDIS MP1.5, then you're gonna hear all the details available to hear. Okay, so let's talk about power drain using this KA13 as a mobile device. Okay, so despite being categorized as desktop substitute dongle, when attached to a phone, which is my Xiaomi Mi 90, 4000 mAh of battery, running my this Timbre Zero 32 ohm, this KA13 was able to score a respectable 9 hours, okay, before it ran out of battery for my phone. And the driving power, now another big element here. Let me just try to focus a bit more here. Okay, again, I mentioned earlier, the key selling factor for this KA13 is power. And true indeed, okay, among the many Cirrus Logic which I have tested and I compared quite a lot side by side with this DC04 Pro, I will admit that it does offer a bit more of headroom among all other Cirrus Logic. So if you need, in particular, number one, okay, loudness, okay, KA13 has it. For example, running this Fostec T40 RP MK3, I only needed volume at around 28 out of 100 when attached to my PC. Whereas, running on the rest of Cirrus Logic dongle, typically I would need at around 34 out of 100. So you see the bit of difference there, okay? Probably at around 6 volume step, okay, between this. So that is loudness alone, okay? Then we talk about headroom, okay? I already mentioned this thing is more than enough to drive this Fostec T40 RP MK3. Very difficult to drive when it comes to loudness. But the headroom itself indicate that there's a lot of, space left to play with the volume level. But I would not suggest to push it beyond, let's say, 70 on this particular headphone because there's a tendency to distort. This is where you may need to use something like this Burson Audio Playmate, which much higher power rating because you don't want distortion, especially if, let's say, for example, you are pushing high level of volume, you have a need for, because your sensitivity to sound is that you need much higher volume, you need to push higher, especially dynamic driver. At certain threshold, it will start to distort. As for synergy factor, no issues at all, definitely for this FiiO KA13. I have tested it with this Final Audio A5000, my favorite, Ethymotic ER2XR, my Timbre Zero somewhere, and my HIDIS MP145, the one that I use the most. And of course this magnetic planar again, Sivga Nightingale, this headphone and a few other IEM I have lying around. The key thing is that being neutral, I attach it to any of those sound partner, I expect the sort of sound to be expected from all of them. Now let's have a look at rating and comparison for this FiiO KA13. And before I do that, let me just clarify this one very important thing. We are seeing so many great dongle being released this year, okay? Each one of them amazing, especially coming from the Cirrus Logic side. It is making life very difficult for people like me who test and review them, because honestly, I have yet to find a dongle which I would consider as being bad sounding or not impressive. Okay? Having said that, let's just have a look here. Okay? What you're looking there, pretty much a collection of Cirrus Logic dongle. Not all of them, because that is how much I can fit into a single window. Okay, I have tested a lot more of Cirrus Logic CS43131, but these are in particular dual configuration. And I also placed there FiiO KA5 so that you can have an idea how does it compare with this KA13. Now, if you look at it, it is pretty much quite evident, right? Anything from FiiO KA13 all the way to the oldest one, which is X Duo Link 2 Balance, they are pretty much very similar, all right, in the way they score with the final overall score, okay? The differences being here and there, okay? The reason is that because starting from Link 2 Balance all the way until now to this FiiO KA13, Cirrus Logic CS43131 has been very, very successful. The one that really separate them, so what separate them really is, okay, is the way they present the sound. Not so much on the technical aspect of it. First, the key thing is that the sound characteristic, okay, the density, the richness of the sound, the authority of the sound depending on different level of power. For example, if you use highly efficient IM like this Final Audio A5000 or even some other hybrid, which is under 32 ohm with sensitivity higher than 100 dB. If you listen to this and this, probably it would be very difficult to ascertain the differences, the nuances of improvement between those two, because the limit of that particular IM has been reached. But you're gonna hear some sort of differences when you start pushing higher for more power, for a bit more of scalability, especially when you start using magnetic planar. And I must say, even for this iBasso DC04 Pro, it was already great. Even for Moondrop Dawn Pro, it was already great, because they are all operating at a very high power level. As you can see there, all of them running at 10. Because the limit of power from dongle perspective, anything with 4 VRMS, with that kind of, let's say, above 200 milliwatt of power per channel, it is already more than enough for 90% of the IM in the market right now. Okay, but when you start pushing for something heavyweight like this, or even scalability for this, and you are, let's say, scrutinizing the sound, okay, then you start to see the differences. Last but not least, timbre signature. And this is how it looked like for FiiO KA13 compared against the rest of the competition. You can clearly see there's a good balance of timbre signature coming from this KA13, somewhere in the middle there, between analog and hi-fi, right in the middle. Where else, when you compare with KA5, I would even say that KA5 exhibit a bit more of appreciation towards hi-fi sort of sound, but KA13 is pretty much identical to X Duo Link 2 Balance, Jackie Epitane, Tangim Space, and Dawn Pro. All in all, I would say that if you love the sort of sound which is very well balanced with lots of power and you need lots of headroom, definitely FiiO KA13 is the answer to look for.